During the summer vacation, my boyfriend and I went rafting. Midway, the raft capsized and we all fell into the water. Only my boyfriend and his friend on the boat knew how to swim. My boyfriend saved me, and his friend rescued another girl. Unfortunately, the rest of the people drowned. Not long after we returned, we received the good news of his friend's wedding. The girl he saved was a wealthy beauty, and to repay his life-saving kindness, she married him with a generous dowry despite his lower status. My boyfriend had just been laid off and was anxious about loan repayments. Seeing his friend driving luxury cars and living in a mansion, he went to borrow money. Unexpectedly, after being rejected, he flew into a rage and stabbed his friend to death. I witnessed this scene and was about to call 120 when he, with bloodshot eyes, rushed over, grabbed me, and crashed into an oncoming truck. If I hadn't saved you, I'd be the one enjoying the spotlight. And you deserve to die. We were both killed on the spot. Opening my eyes, I was back to the day of rafting. My boyfriend was staring intently at a beautiful girl. I sneered. Since he wants to play the hero and save the beauty so much, then let him have his way. I just hope he knows the girl's secret and can still laugh about it. The sound of noisy laughter and trickling water slowly drifted over. I blinked dazedly. My boyfriend, Yen, was pounding his head and looking around in astonishment. What? He said, dazed by the splash. His good buddy scooped a ladle of water and splashed it hard onto Yen's face. Yen jolted, making everyone on the raft burst into laughter. Only then did I realize that the surroundings seemed familiar. Yen seemed stunned, staring blankly at the girl across from him. The girl's seaweed-like long hair was dotted with droplets of water, and the thin gauze on her body, accidentally splashed by Song-Chi moments ago, half revealed her flesh-colored undergarments, both seductive and pitiful. Yen quickly pulled out a tissue and offered it to her in a flattering manner. Song-Chi remarked sarcastically, "What's this? Trying to have your cake and eat it, too?" Yen stared at me for a few seconds, found nothing unusual, then scooped up water and splashed it back fiercely. The two older women on the raft were affected and fought back as well. The raft was instantly filled with screams. In the previous life, Yen splashed the hardest, not caring about anything. At this moment, he deliberately avoided the girl, showing great tenderness and care. Needless to say, he had also been reborn. The events of his previous life rushed through his mind like a roller coaster. The water was rushing fiercely, the raft capsized, and we were in grave danger. Yen and Song-Chi could swim. Yen pulled me to the shore. Song-Chi rescued the girl closest to him. The other two older women on the raft unfortunately drowned. I never expected that girl to be a wealthy beauty, who, out of gratitude for saving her life, married Song-Chi with $1 million dowry. When Yen received the invitation, he offered his blessings on the surface, but inexplicably took his anger out on me afterward. I thought he was just having a tough time at work and didn't pay much attention to it. Later, when loan collectors started harassing us daily, he saw Song-Chi driving luxury cars and living in mansions. So, he went to borrow money from him. I never expected to be scolded harshly by Song-Chi, and in a fit of rage, Yen stabbed Song-Chi to death. I arrived right after, witnessing the gruesome scene. Terrified, I was about to dial 120 when Yen, with bloodshot eyes, grabbed me and rushed toward a speeding large truck. Now his roar still echoes in my ears. If I hadn't saved you first, I'd be the one enjoying the glory. You deserve to die. Let's all just perish together. The despair of near death and the agony of internal organs being torn apart still lingered. You want a hero to save the beauty and live happily ever after, right? Fine. I'll grant your wish. At the river's bend, the current is swift, making it difficult to stop the boat. Yen wants to be a hero, but I have no desire to experience the taste of choking on water again. There are also two innocent women on the boat, and I must save them as well. I leaned forward, looked into the distance, and called out to stop them. Let's stop playing for now. The current up ahead seems pretty strong and dangerous. We should probably call it a day. Unexpectedly, The sunglasses sister was completely soaked but still having a great time. She was clearly unhappy. If you're scared, why are you even doing rafting? Can't you just stay home where it's safe? Another woman with tattooed eyebrows took my hand. My colleague has a sharp tongue. Don't mind her. And don't be afraid. So many people go rafting every day. Nothing will happen. The woman with sunglasses pulled her away. Don't waste your breath on her. Let's just enjoy ourselves. Sister, your boyfriend has a strong physique, so he must know how to swim. Even if you don't trust me, you should trust him. Sun Shangshang, the beautiful and wealthy girl, smiled sweetly, her eyes secretly glancing at He Yan. He Yan was praised by the beauty and grinned, showing his big front teeth. Do I trust him? I believe even my fingernails could help me scratch my back. Several people started splashing water at each other even more enthusiastically. I tried to say a few more words, but they all pretended not to hear. If they wouldn't listen to advice. I was definitely getting off the boat, having no other choice. I clutched my stomach and looked aggrieved. Maybe it's because my period just ended and the water is a bit cold. My stomach hurts a little. Could we stop the boat and let me get off? The woman in sunglasses impatiently tapped the inflatable raft and said, Stop. Stop. First, you talk about bad luck. And now you're feeling unwell. Don't die on the boat and blame us. We're all young. And the other girl is fine. Why is your partner so fussy? Not only did He Yan not speak up for me, but his face was also full of disgust. He struggled to stop the rubber raft. His tone displeased. Get off. Get off. Get off. What a buzzkill. I quickly climbed out of the boat. But the older sister with the tattooed eyebrows called out to me, Wait a minute. The mountain path is rugged. It's quite dangerous for a young girl like you to walk alone. I'm hungry, too. So, let's go eat together. You guys should head down soon to have lunch. Song Chi also got up and followed. It's not easy to catch a taxi going downhill. Let me give you both a ride. Song Chi finished speaking and gave He Yan a meaningful look. He Yan wore a troubled expression. The big SI. Stir in sunglasses pulled He Yan aside with a look of disdain. Brother, let them go their way. We'll have our own fun. She leaned over and whispered in He Yan's ear. Sis has been through this before. Let me tell you. You can't spoil a woman like this. Can't let her get away with everything. Or you'll regret it after marriage. Sun Shangshang also looked at He Yan with a disappointed expression. Although I want to have fun, too. It's not worth making you argue and upset with sister. How about we go downstairs? As well. She said so. But her bottom didn't move an inch. Seeing that He Yan was about to get angry, I quickly waved my hand. No, no, no. The three of us will go eat. And the three of you can have fun together. Before leaving, I specifically asked Sister Lu to let the person with sunglasses wear the life jacket. He Yan also pretended to give a few instructions, then rode the inflatable raft away with the two of them. The three of us found a small restaurant at the foot of the mountain. As soon as we entered, it started raining heavily outside. And the world beyond the window became blurred. The older sister frowned. The signal is already weak in the mountains. And after the rain, there's absolutely no signal. I hope nothing's happened to them. The woman in sunglasses is Lu Jia's colleague. They're on a business trip and stopped by to relax for a bit. Song Chi pushed his food around indifferently. Maybe they found a place to take shelter from the rain. Besides, there's rescue coming. Right. But what if the rescue can't arrive in time during this heavy rain? Song Chi glanced at me and comforted me. Anyway, He Yan can swim, so he won't die. But those two girls are uncertain. If you're really worried. We've just finished eating. Let's go back and check on them. I nodded, but I secretly hoped he dies. When we went out, the rain had almost stopped. We had just reached the intersection when a group of people carrying several stretchers walked down the mountain. He Yan was supporting the stretcher at the front. On it was Sun Shangshang. She was wrapped in He Yan's coat, her face deathly pale, continuously spitting out water, and trembling all over. It was unclear whether she was shivering from the cold or from fright. On the stretcher behind them lay the woman with the sunglasses. The lenses of the sunglasses were shattered, and the remaining frames hung from a necklace. Her face was covered in blood, and no one knew whether she was alive or dead. Sister Lu was terrified, collapsing directly onto the ground. Medical personnel comforted her. "Relax. She's not dead. Your colleague is lucky to be alive. She was washed ashore just with a cheekbone injury." Facing everyone's questioning, He Yan shifted all the blame onto me. "Fu Yingying. If you hadn't insisted on getting off the ship and delayed our time, how could this accident have happened? Don't you feel guilty?" "I feel guilty. My ass." I hadn't spoken yet when Song Chi snorted coldly. "Are you even conscience-stricken saying that? You were in a bad mood and asked us to come keep you company. You knew Ying is afraid of water, yet you insisted on going rafting. She warned you it was dangerous, but you blamed her for spoiling the fun. Now you're trying to shift the blame onto her, shirking your own responsibility and blaming others. How dare you?" He was speechless and couldn't fight back. His face turned bright red, and finally he raised his hand, stammering, "You're my buddy, yet you're taking her side like this. Are you too involved?" His words drew everyone's attention. Even the paramedics started walking slower. The crowd buzzed with discussion. Her boyfriend nearly drowned, and she just stood there without even showing concern. A pair of scumbags still have the nerve to blame the brave person who stepped in to help. What has the world come to? Sun Shangshang had tears in her eyes and weakly tugged at He Yan's sleeve. "Don't argue with sister anymore. It's all my fault for not knowing how to row a boat or swim." Seeing everyone siding with her and Sun Shangshang acting as if she couldn't live without him, He Yan, after much thought, waved his hand. "I won't waste any more words with you. Fu Yingying. Let's break up. I was wrong about you all. Despite the rumors drowning us both." He angrily left that sentence behind and got into the ambulance. Seeing everyone still chattering incessantly, He Yan pulled out his phone and glared at them. "Believe it or not, I'll sue you for defamation." The crowd grumbled and gradually dispersed. Sister Lu went to the hospital, and I returned to the hotel with Song Chi. We remained silent the whole way back. "He's not worth it for you. Didn't you see how He Yan couldn't take his eyes off her earlier? He even shielded her when the water was splashed. I won't hide it from you. When He Yan first started seeing you, he was still involved with another woman. Don't blame me for not warning you. After all, we're good buddies." I couldn't bring myself to say anything. "Then why are you saying it now?" Mainly because he went too far. I really couldn't stand it anymore." Song Chi kept rambling on about He Yan's little-known scandals. I stopped in my tracks. "I'll break up with him." "Huh. You're giving up that quickly." I lifted my face and spoke word by word. "Didn't you give up hope when he stabbed you? One knife after another." Song Chi was stunned, dodging my gaze and stammering, "What are you talking about? Are you as frightened as Sister Lu? Stop pretending. Stop pretending." "Song Chi, I know you've been reborn, too. You wouldn't have helped me like this before. The day you were stabbed to death by him, I was also killed by him. In other words, we're both on the same rope." Song Chi tightly closed his lips. He lit a cigarette. "Even if he killed me, how could he have the heart to do it to you after all you've done for him?" That son of a Song Chi was filled with indignation. At that moment, He Yan suddenly sent a video. As soon as it connected, he started cursing furiously, misunderstanding them. "Those two scoundrels are still together now. I must have been blind." He kept cursing while glancing to the side. Needless to say, Sun Shangshang was beside him. The phone was hung up. I found Song Chi seemed unaffected, which made me a bit curious. "You clearly hate him, too. So, why did you let him have the chance to save Bai Fumei?" "Chance?" Song Chi let out a cold laugh. "The day he came to me for money. I had just returned from the hospital, feeling restless and planning to transfer the ownership of my car and house. I didn't even want to live anymore. And he still called me ungrateful. Who else should I curse if not him? Didn't want to live anymore." He exhaled a puff of smoke, his voice drifting over faintly. I'm infected with AIDS. Sun Shangshang gave it to me. She's deliberately taking revenge on society. Actually, I've vaguely known that Sun Shangshang has some serious illness. Forgot to mention. I'm a psychological counselor in my previous life. I provided psychological counseling to a patient. He frankly admitted that he had been deceived by his girlfriend, who looked pure on the outside, contracted a sexually transmitted disease, and fell into depression with suicidal thoughts. He underwent counseling with me for over a year before gradually regaining confidence to keep living. A few days before Song Chi's engagement, He Yan was annoyed by debt collectors. Seeing that Song Chi's social media was full of luxury homes and expensive cars, he called to borrow money. The phone was directly hung up by Song Chi. This is what happens when you start living a good life. You just stop being human. No way. I have to go ask him. Is this what it means to rise to fame and fortune and then abandon your buddies? I couldn't stop the impulsive He Yan, so I just let him go. After all, Song Chi had indeed been contacting him less during that period, and it was unclear what kind of rift had developed between them. It's just that I had a bad feeling all day at work that day, while idly scrolling through my social media feed. I was startled by someone behind me. It was that previous patient. He had come to present me with a banner of appreciation. He shakily pointed at the wedding photo of Song Chi and the other person. Your friend. It was only then that I realized Sun Shangshang was his pure ex-girlfriend with an STD. So Song Chi's odd behavior was because he discovered this. I was afraid He Yan might act impulsively and say something harsh that could hurt their relationship. So I hurried over right away. Then I witnessed a bloody scene. I called 120 to try to save someone. But He Yan thought I was calling the police. He didn't even bother to listen to what I had to say. Just grabbed me and rushed toward the big truck. Cars sped past before my eyes, instantly pulling me back to reality. So, Sun Shangshang's sexually transmitted disease eats AIDS. Song Chi extinguished the cigarette butt. We're such good buddies. How could I possibly forget him when I'm living the good life? But how could I bring myself to talk about this kind of illness? Yet I never thought he would try to kill me. And then there's Sun Shangshang. I kindly saved her life, believed in her sweet words, only to find out in the end that she had deceived me. I hate them both to death. The cigarette butt crushed on the ground was still smoldering with sparks. I poured the mineral water over it. Everyone has to pay their dues sooner or later. Then let them pay one by one. The rental apartment was paid for with my own money. To be precise, I've been completely investing in He Yan. I bought his clothes, and I pay for all the household expenses. We got together because one day I got off work late and was surrounded by some street thugs whistling at me. He Yan happened to come out and help me out at that moment. At that moment, I draped him in the halo of a hero. He picked me up and dropped me off every day, and gradually feelings grew between us, and we started living together. In my previous life, when my teacher heard that He Yan was idle and aimless, I tolerated him in every way. He shook his head and only said, "Indeed, doctors find it hard to heal themselves. I think I'm human, too. So it's normal to have a vulnerable side." Right. Looking back now, it wasn't vulnerability at all. It was sheer blindness. If I hadn't heard Song Chi mention it yesterday, I wouldn't have known that those troublemakers back then were actually He Yan's buddies. Just as I finished packing He Yan's belongings, I suddenly received a call from the police. "Ms. Fu, we need to understand what happened yesterday." I wasn't far from Song Chi, so I rode in his car. At the police station, everyone on the raft was present. He Yan was sitting next to Sun Shangshang, and beside them was the elder sister wearing sunglasses. The elder sister had gauze wrapped around her face and pointed at me with a bad tone. "It's all your fault for insisting on getting off the boat halfway. Otherwise, would I have been disfigured? My husband wanted to divorce me when he saw my disfigurement. It's all your fault." Seeing her crying so pitifully, I couldn't help but snort with laughter. Could it be that he's wanted to divorce you all along? This reason is just an excuse. And here you are, lecturing others on how to manage their wives. Yet you've managed to get yourself divorced. You shut up. She was so angry she wanted to come at me, but was stopped by the police. "Ms. Sun, calm down. This is the police station. No one wants this kind of thing to happen. Stop making a scene. She sat down angrily. After finishing the statement, the woman in sunglasses rolled her eyes and glared at me. I smiled and leaned close to her ear. Sis, if I hadn't gotten off the boat earlier, you'd have drowned by now. She was so angry she started rolling up her sleeves again. But Sister Lu firmly held her back. The girl is right. The rescuer said He Yen saved that girl, and you just happened to be washed ashore when the rain was heaviest. If we hadn't gotten off the boat and you had been swept downstream, He Yen wouldn't have had time to save you, and you would have drowned. Sister Lu widened her eyes and stared straight at me. So that means if we hadn't gotten off the boat, the two boys could only have saved 2 people, and at least 2 would have drowned. She took my hand and said, Sister, it was you who saved our lives. Finally. There's someone who understands. She excitedly grabbed the woman in sunglasses. Yes. That life jacket was also something the young lady asked me to make sure you wore before she left. But you just wouldn't put it on. If something happened to you, who would I partner with in the future? The woman with sunglasses finally understood. Lowering her head. Sis, I wronged you. I was wrong. What I said on the boat was harsh. Please don't be like me. I don't even bother to argue. After all, they never harmed me. At that moment, He Yen and Sun Shangshang passed by us. I quickly called out to stop him. He Yen looked somewhat smug, looking down at me. What's wrong? Regretting losing me. Didn't sleep well all night. Did you? Sun Shangshang was dressed exquisitely, with a hint of a smile in her eyes. Sister. Brother He Yen is so nice. Just coax him a bit. Maybe he'll forgive you. He Yen curled his lip. Forgive. I hate it the most when people betray me. What were you thinking when you cheated? How dare he even mention betrayal? But when you want to condemn someone, you can always find a pretext. I rolled my eyes and looked at Song Chi. You're overthinking it. Bring his luggage over. I opened my luggage and dumped all the clothes out. Then I picked up a pair of scissors and cut one of the garments. What are you doing? What am I doing? Returning your things to you. But since I bought them, I need to handle them my way. Not a single good piece of clothing remained. Only a few tattered and wrinkled ones left. All right. Take them away. He Yen felt utterly ashamed. Blushing, he kicked his luggage aside. You want to humiliate me? Right. I don't want it anymore. Do whatever you want with it. Oh, so much backbone. The clothes on your body were bought by me. 2. Take them off. He Yen pointed at me, wanting to lash out, but afraid of ruining his image. Sun Shangshang stepped in to defend me. Sister, you look quite pretty, but why are you being so unreasonable? She disdainfully pushed the fragments aside with her high heels. I thought you were cutting something precious. It's all just junk brands. He Yen was beaming with happiness. I tilted my head, implying something. Isn't it normal for trash to match trash? Sun Shangshang was furious. 2. She made a phone call and soon after the bodyguards drove the Rolls-Royce in front of us. The bodyguard took down a set of clothes and handed them to her. Sun Shangshang held her head high. Brother He Yen. Go change in the car. Don't take the sisters' rags. Remember your favorite brands. We'll get them from my mall later. He Yen was full of excitement as he carefully got into the Rolls-Royce. A moment later, he threw his clothes out and spat toward me and Song Chi. Damn it. You'll be begging for me someday. The luxury car gradually drove away. Song Chi and I exchanged a knowing smile. After all that, their relationship was bound to heat up quickly. There was nothing more for Song Chi and me to do. After breaking up with He Yen, I threw myself into my work. Having died once and gone through being betrayed by my boyfriend, I became increasingly clear-headed when dealing with many patients' issues. After not too long, my reputation grew better and better. Meanwhile, He Yen kept posting ambiguous confessions on his social media moments. Meeting you is my destiny. Everything is the best arrangement. I endured a wave of goosebumps as I deleted his contact name, only to discover he had already changed it. The knight guarding the princess. Looking more closely, even the profile pictures have become matching couple avatars. It must be said that the two of them are progressing quite quickly. He is immersed in the joy of being in love and I am immersed in the joy of watching from the sidelines. In the afternoon, when I was seeing a patient out, I went to look for my supervisor. I found my senior female colleague Li Yan was also in his office. She is also a counselor, and we usually don't get along. She always thinks my therapeutic methods are inferior to hers. My senior complained. My patient lost her first time, then got involved with a scumbag, was locked in a room by him, and nearly suffocated from coal fumes. She completely broke down. But I've been asking her for a week now. And she hasn't said a single word. Her brother insists on accompanying her to appointments and constantly insults people. I'm completely fed up. Anyway, I can't treat her. Whoever wants to, go ahead and treat her. The teacher looked disappointed. Only the sick need a doctor. If a counselor loses even the most basic patience and emotional stability, it's time for you to take a break. Li Yan was her teacher's favorite student. And hearing these words, she felt wronged and began shedding tears. If you quit, what about your patients? Where is your sense of responsibility? The teacher frowned. But Li Yan was very stubborn. Feeling embarrassed, she glanced at me. Didn't you always say Fu Yingying's treatment was effective? I've never agreed with that. Let her accept it. I want to see how she plans to treat a mute. Both of them were stubborn, neither willing to back down. He glanced toward the neighboring room. Inside sat a young woman in her 20s. Her gaze was vacant, her wrists still wrapped in gauze. And she occasionally slapped herself. Silent tears slid down her cheeks, inexplicably evoking a sense of heartache. I broke the silence, asking, "Depression? I think it's even harder to deal with than depression." Li Yan muttered. She handed over the materials, then took them back. "Forget it. I won't push you. You came a year later than me, so you wouldn't be able to do it either." Senior Li Yan was straightforward, but she wasn't a bad person at heart. She was just eager to get the girl to speak up quickly. I didn't want to get involved originally, but there was something about this girl that gave me an inexplicable feeling because what she went through seemed so similar to my own. I seemed to have this impulse feeling that I could cure her. Just because you can't doesn't mean others can't. Let me try. You'll give me a commission from the patient, too, right? Although Li Yan didn't believe me, seeing my determined expression, she hesitated for a moment before nodding. "Got it done. Commission is no big deal. Let me treat you to a big meal. What if it can't be done?" She handed me the documents and said, "Then your reputation will stink along with mine." I smiled and took it. "I'll try not to stink." Inside the counseling room, the girl remains seated in the same position, motionless. "Why are you only here now?" The man on the sofa didn't look up, seeing that I didn't say anything. He frowned and finally raised his head. "Someone new and a young one at that. Are you just giving up now? Can't you just say plainly that you can't treat it?" A series of rhetorical questions, arrogant and impolite. I made a shushing gesture and pointed to the door, signaling him to leave. "You deal with your business. I'm leaving. My sister will be scared." The man looked about my age, but dressed unusually well. Only the arrogant attitude is detestable. I nodded. "All right. If you think staying with her will make things better, take her home and don't come back." The man slapped the table and stood up. The watch chain struck the glass mirror, making a click. "What kind of attitude is that?" I took a sip of tea. "If you want to be cured, then leave. If you don't want treatment, then I won't see you off." Bu Shangyang bit his lip, lowering his head gently as he carefully took hold of the girl's hand that had just slapped him. The girl let out a roar and flung him away. He murmured softly, all right, I won't touch you. I'll wait outside. Promise I won't leave. Call me if you need anything." His eyes were filled with concern. He looked up at me. His features were still handsome and dashing, but his tone was worlds apart. He picked up one of my plastic business cards. "You're quite young, but your business cards are made quite sturdy. Fu Yingying. Right. Don't put on such a tough act. It might all turn out to be just for show. 1 week. If you can't cure my sister, I'll make sure this hospital shuts down." He snorted and went out. I really wanted to suggest that he also seek counseling. I didn't say a word, nor did I ask a single question. Flipping through books, watering the flowers, scrolling through my phone. In his social media feed, He-yen flaunts a high-end luxury car. In his selfies, he is dressed impeccably with a lavishly decorated villa in the background. Mutual friends flock to the comments to cozy up to him. Rock on, brother Yen. What projects have you been working on lately? Made it big. Won't forget your brothers. Right. When are you marrying Sister Ing? We guys will definitely be there. He-yen replied one by one. What project? Just got lucky. Don't worry, bro. When I make it big, I won't forget my brothers, unlike some ungrateful bastards. I broke up with that girl. Out with the old, in with the new. Your new sister-in-law is a rich, beautiful woman. And we're getting engaged. Start preparing your wedding gifts. He moved on so seamlessly and shamelessly. I found it boring and just closed it. Time passed second by second. Gu Shengyan seemed tired of slapping and leaned back on the sofa. She remained immersed in our own world, but later still cast a few curious glances at me. It was time for the consultation. I closed my eyes to rest and didn't look at her. It's time. Go back with your brother. Her lifeless eyes showed a hint of surprise. But she left without saying anything. Hearing that I didn't ask anything throughout. Senior sister Li Yen laughed so hard her stomach hurt. Just this. Are you planning to rule by doing nothing? Just wait for her brother to complain about you. I really didn't do anything. But that doesn't mean I wasn't working during that silent hour. I put myself in a situation. Suppose He-yen pulled me under the big truck that day and we didn't die. I survived. What should my feelings be? Despair, anger, sorrow. Of course. Most importantly, I would hate myself for being blind, for loving someone I shouldn't have. So what I need most is not revenge, not comfort, but to forgive. It's not him that I forgive. It's myself. I forgive myself for misjudging the person. Forgive me for not loving myself well enough, for believing in those I shouldn't have. But this step, unless one figures it out for themselves, no one can help. But I'm not entirely sure either because I am not Gu Shengyan. I could only try my best to empathize. So for 6 consecutive days, I didn't say a word. She also remained silent. On the 7th day, as soon as I arrived at work, I received a call from Song Chi. He-yen and Sun Shangshang are getting married, and he deliberately sent me an invitation to his private villa, saying he forgives us both, wishes us well, and wants me to bring you to witness his happiness. Just showing off. Ha! I am. Everything is ready on my end. If you're too busy to come, I'll handle it all. I snorted coldly. As the ex-girlfriend of a cheating guy, how could I miss the show? His glorious moment shone. We both send our blessings together. I love watching dramas the most. Besides, it's starring He-yen. Alright, let's discuss it in detail after you get off work. After hanging up the phone, I couldn't help but feel a bit excited, only to be startled by someone behind me. Today marks the 7th day. Dr. Fu. Gu Shenyan's sharply defined face carried a mix of disappointment and sarcasm. 3 parts disappointment, 7 parts mockery. Those two have been here for 14 days. Yet they still can't get my sister to speak. I suggest your hospital should just close down early. I really have nothing to argue back. If Gu Shenyan doesn't want to talk, no matter how much I beg, it won't help. Although Gu Shenyan mocked me, he still respected me. After sending Gu Shenyan into the room, he left. After the door was closed, I took out a lollipop and handed it to Gu Shenyan. She didn't take it, so I placed it beside her desk. Pulling out a chair to sit down, her clear and ethereal voice came softly. Are you still not going to say anything today? I was overjoyed inside, but kept a calm exterior. I know you don't want to talk. She fell silent for a moment, seeing that I didn't press further. She let out a long sigh of relief and began to recount her story. For 5 years, I gave him the most precious years of my youth. I cut ties with my father for him, a pampered young lady who had always been taken care of by a nanny, and moved into a rented apartment with him, doing laundry, cooking, and taking care of him. My brother felt sorry for me and sent me money, but when he started his own business, I saved it all up and gave it to him. Eventually, his business took off. Seeing that my father had given all the family assets to my brother, he ran off with a wealthy client who was several years older than him. Afraid that my brother would come after him, he deliberately got me drunk to fake carbon monoxide poisoning. Am I stupid? Am I crazy? My brother shouldn't have saved me. He should have let me die. In truth, when Yen rushed toward the truck with me in his arms, my heart was also filled with despair, but truly experiencing the pain of having one's internal organs torn apart. Along with the flash of a lifetime's people and events in the mind, family and friends, only then did I realize that compared to life, nothing else matters. Why do you think the fault lies with yourself? The fault lies with the scumbag. Yen twisted open the lollipop, offering a weak smile. Isn't being blind a fault? My dad wants me to go home. My brother wants to break his legs. Neither of them blames me. No one blames me at all. But I've broken my father's heart, lost a girl's virginity, and made my brother suffer for me. I don't deserve their love. I look down on myself. Anyway, when I came here, I had already decided to talk to you for a bit and then leave. I don't want to meet him in my next life. Thank you for respecting me these past few days. It's just my brother. He's only just returned home, and I'm afraid he'll be upset for a while. She licked her lollipop, her tone light and casual. Actually, as a psychological counselor, what I fear most is when patients have a look of indifference on their faces, because at this moment, they have truly made up their minds. I pulled the curtains, and sunlight filled the entire room. You told your story. How about listening to mine? Sure. I honestly shared everything I had done for Yen. Washing clothes during my period. No birthday gifts. Earning money to support the family. Always putting him first. In fact, every girl who is deeply devoted to love fears that she hasn't done enough. But in the end, it's nothing more than self-gratification. Dr. Fu. At least my boyfriend appears decent on the surface. But your boyfriend is just a jerk. You're even more love-obsessed than I am. See? Sometimes when you compare yourself to others, you realize you're not actually the worst off. She pressed on. And then what? How did you finally figure it out? I was killed by him. After hearing my story, Yen burst out laughing. He ended up stabbing his buddy to death because he couldn't borrow money. And then he held you while getting hit by a truck, taking you both out. And then you, the scumbag, and your mutual friend all got reborn together. Ahahaha. That's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. She laughed so hard she nearly doubled over, finally wiping away her tears. Thank you, Dr. Fu. You even made up such a joke to treat me. Seriously. This is the funniest joke I've heard in days. I looked at her earnestly. You don't believe me, but it's true. She didn't argue either. So what if it is? If it's true, then you can't handle me even more. Killed by someone like that. And you can still sit here so calmly. You haven't even solved your own problems. Yet you dare to think about treating me. She crunched the lollipop into pieces. Then she stood up. Sis, you're not cut out to be a counselor. You should be an actress. Not bad acting. I sneered. Me, calm and composed. Are you suggesting that after being victimized by scum like him once, I should just sit around sobbing? Or should I jump off from here? I pointed at the window. I gritted my teeth and said the words I wanted to tell her. I handed him the knife of trust. And he betrayed me. I've already been hurt. I've already paid the price. So, why should I pick up the knife again and stab myself over and over? So, not only do I not want to stab myself anymore, I also want him to pay the price. Yen was stunned by the coldness in my eyes. You're a psychologist. After all, counselors are human, too. Besides, I don't intend to do anything. I just need to watch him face the consequences of his own actions. The consultation time is up. Dr. Fu. I'll think carefully about what you said today when I get home. Maybe I'll come back tomorrow. Or maybe, I know making up stories is just a way for you to hold me back. But I really don't believe in rebirth. It's just self-deception. But anyway. Thank you very much. She gently opened the door. Seeing outside the door, I suddenly froze in a daze. Brother Chi, what are you doing here? Song Chi is Gu Shengyan's childhood friend. He is Gu Shengyan's sworn brother. Song Chi saw Gu Shengyan coming out and immediately went for a chokehold. Gu Shengyan, not knowing who it was, cursed in Mandarin. Upon recognizing Song Chi, his anger turned to delight. Damn. I was wondering why this move felt so familiar. Song Chi gestured. You little rascal. You didn't even tell me you were coming back to the country. And Yen, why does your face look so pale? What's wrong with you? Gu Shengyan might have felt awkward with me standing nearby. So he put his arm around Song Chi's shoulder. Just mentioning this makes me angry. Let's grab a bite to eat. And we can talk about it slowly. I haven't asked you yet. Why are you here? Kid. I'm here to pick up my friend. We need to talk about something. Song Chi pushed aside his buddy to look at me. Gu Shengyan's face stiffened, feeling awkward as he recalled his previous arrogance and disdain toward me. Finally, tentatively, Dr. Fu, would you do me the honor? How about having a meal together? I gave him a glare, glanced at Gu Shengyan, and still agreed. Unexpectedly, Gu Shengyan waved her hand. Brother Chi, I'm not feeling well. You guys go ahead. I don't want to eat. Gu Shengyan was somewhat pleased to see her speaking. Song Chi looked a bit worried, but Gu Shengyan didn't seem to want to say anything either. Song Chi couldn't persuade her either. Forget it. Then let's just send her back first. But I grabbed her and whispered secretly. Song Chi. My friend who was reborn with me. You can ask him later. And tomorrow, the two of us will witness the scumbag getting what he deserves. Gu Shengyan hesitated for a moment, but was eventually won over by curiosity. On the day of the wedding banquet, outside the fence of Sun Shangshang's private villa, gorgeous roses with thorns were intertwined. Expensive sofas and chairs were placed in the courtyard. Sunlight slanted down, casting mottled shadows that reflected the courtyard's luxury. Celebrities from all walks of life, along with the media, are eagerly awaiting the grand wedding of this talented couple. Even before the ceremony began, it had already become a trending topic. Guests at the scene were also buzzing with discussions. I heard that Shangshang was saved by him, so she decided to marry him in return. This kid is really lucky. What he saved wasn't a person at all, but clearly a money tree. He won't have to worry about food and drink for the rest of his life. Won't all of old Sun's fortune belong to him in the future? He Yen, dressed in a high-end wedding gown, was overjoyed amidst the envious gazes of the crowd. We chose the table in the corner. Everyone at the table marveled at the extravagance of the wedding. Gu Shengyan sat beside me, murmuring, if he hadn't broken up with me, our wedding would have been even more lavish than this. I patted her hand. There's no need to regret. He's not worth it. Soon, amidst the clinking of glasses and continuous laughter, the bride, Sun Shangshang, made her entrance. She wore a white wedding dress, as noble and elegant as a princess. He Yan's eyes widened and gasps erupted from the crowd. As the two were about to drink the wedding wine together, several men rushed into the hall and pointed at the stage. It's her. Yes, it's her. He Yan's good deed was interrupted, and he shielded Sun Shangshang while shouting for security. Unexpectedly, several police officers also entered the courtyard. Sun Shangshang's father frowned and said, "Police colleagues, what are you doing on my daughter's wedding day?" The police officer flashed his badge, glanced at the crowded first and second floors of the villa, and spoke with righteous indignation. "We suspect your daughter is involved in retaliating against society and endangering public order. We need her to cooperate with us and return for investigation." He Yan couldn't stand it. He rushed down the stage in a few quick steps. "What, can't wait until after the wedding? My fiancée is gentle and delicate. How could she possibly pose a threat to public safety?" He comforted the frightened Sun Shangshang. With eyes wide in fury, he pointed at the troublemaking men. "They're just here to cause trouble." He Yan seemed to understand something, pointing at our table from afar. He slammed his hand on the table. "It's you two causing trouble, right? Are you even human? You cheated on my best friend. I forgave you and still kindly invited you to the wedding. So, you're targeting me. Gu Shengyan took a disdainful sip of her drink and pouted. Dr. Fu, your ex-boyfriend seems like a rabid dog. He Yan pointed at her. What do you think you are? What kind of little trash are you? Gu Shengyang splashed a glass of red wine over. He Yan's white shirt was instantly stained with wine. He was about to take action when the people around him recognized Gu Shengyang one after another. Isn't this the eldest son of the Gu family? The Gu and Sun families have been competing for so many years. So, he came here on purpose to stir up trouble. He Yan barely restrained his impulse. Comrade police. You heard it. They are deliberately disrupting the wedding. It should be them who are taken away. Unexpectedly. Several men who had rushed in first couldn't bear it anymore. Dude. Sun Shangshang has AIDS. You've been deceived. The wedding that day did not proceed. The media hyped it up and for a while. News about the oil tycoon's daughter contracting a venereal disease spread everywhere. Since the couple hadn't registered their marriage, Sun Shangshang refused to undergo a premarital medical checkup. She flatly denied everything and tried to use her family's influence to settle it quietly. But the Gu family, the biggest competitor, would never give her a chance. Moreover, she has harmed too many people. She still underwent the examination under police pressure. The fact of AIDS was instantly spread. Soon, Sun Shangshang's charges of retaliating against society and endangering the lives and health of others were firmly established. She wept with pear blossoms and rain, screaming and shouting at the police station. I am also a victim. Men are no good. I was just punishing them. Besides, didn't they love money and my beauty? They slept with me and spent my money. Isn't that what they deserved? Her accusations held no legal weight. But she didn't understand. These men who contracted AIDS were from different provinces. So, how could they have come together? Of course, all of this was thanks to Song Chi. He heard me talk about that patient and suspected there must be more than just him. So, he had been privately investigating Sun Shangshang's ex-boyfriends. I never expected that as many as 8 people were deceived. Some discovered it before marriage. Others after. And the reason why Sun Shangshang's father agreed to her marrying below her status is precisely because he was also aware of the situation that he chose to turn a blind eye. The Sun family thus fell into decline. And their business and partners were naturally monopolized by the Gu family. Gu Shenyang was extremely grateful to both me and Song Chi. And Gu Shenyan, after seeing He Yan's true colors and his terrified reaction of kneeling down upon seeing the test report, felt a faint sense of satisfaction in her heart. She also had some changed opinions about me, although she still didn't believe the fact that Song Chi and I were reincarnated. She somehow no longer wanted to die, mainly because I'm also curious about what happened to my ex-boyfriend, that scumbag. She consulted with me for a few days and her condition gradually improved. She came to the counseling room for the last time holding my hand. Dr. Fu, Sister Ing. My ex-boyfriend came to see me. My brother said the rich woman he was seeing has a husband, and all his clients have been cheated by her. So now he only has a shell company left. My heart sank. So what are you planning to do? She patted my hand. Seeing that my dad and I have reconciled. You finally realize how good I am and now you want to squeeze me dry again. Too bad. It's too late. I gave him a good scolding and I acquired the only company he had and conveniently fired him. Gu Shengyan's smile was very beautiful. If someone stabs you once, it's because you've met the wrong person. If you let someone stab you twice, then you deserve to be stabbed. The first time was because I was blind. But sorry, now I can see again. Senior Li Yan also kept her promise and treated me to a big meal. Although she didn't know the specifics of the treatment process, she was thoroughly convinced. Putting everything else aside, her grumpy-faced brother not only didn't complain about us, but actually gave our hospital a shout-out to the media, and he specifically mentioned you by name. You've got some skills. I shook my head, only able to say that it was just the right timing, location, and people. Or perhaps heaven took pity on me and on Gu Shengyan as well. Later, Gu Shengyan never came to the counseling room again. But privately, the 4 of us became close friends. often having meals together. On Gu Shenyan's birthday, after dinner, we went to watch a movie. We got back very late. As I reached the street corner, I saw several people surrounding someone, punching and kicking them. Gu Shenyang and Song Qi stepped forward to intervene. The thugs were pulled away, spitting and cursing, but they were persuaded with kind words. "Buddy, we know you mean well, but this guy has AIDS. He gambles. Borrowed money from us and won't pay it back. And even wants us to die with him. He's scum. Stay away from him." The man on the ground was as thin as a stick, clutching his head and groaning. He was covered in mud, with his exposed skin festering, looking utterly wretched. The smell of blood and the alcohol from the shattered bottle blended together, under the streetlight. His face looked increasingly familiar to me. He Yen. Song Qi also recognized him. He Yen paused for a moment. He bent over and grabbed Song Qi's thigh. "Dude. I'm in such a bad situation. Look at how well dressed you guys are. Lend me some money. I haven't eaten in days." As soon as he finished speaking, he lunged for Song Qi's pocket. Panicking, he quickly pulled out his wallet, threw a stack of 100 yuan bills on the ground, then tossed the wallet and ran away. Song Qi didn't chase after him, but shouted, "You know, He Yen, this is what you deserve." He Yen stopped in his tracks. He slowly turned around, a look of sudden realization on his face. "Now I finally understand why everything went so smoothly and why it all seemed so coincidental. It turns out both of you have been reborn as well." His eyes bloodshot. He roared, "Why? You two clearly knew she was sick. So why didn't you tell me? Are you even human?" I sneered. "Isn't it because you're jealous of Song Qi? Aren't you blaming me for delaying your chance to save someone? In my previous life, I ran to tell you she was sick, but did you even listen? You were already blinded by money. This life, we didn't do anything. Everything was your own choice. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself." He Yen cursed loudly, picking up a sharp piece of glass from the ground and charging at me like a madman. Gu Shengyan pushed Gu Shengyan aside and stood in front of me. The shard pierced his chest. Gu Shengyan gripped the glass shard tightly, blood dripping down. I kicked He Yen in the stomach. He was yanked hard by Song Qi and fell to the ground. He still wanted to pick up the glass shards and rush over again. Unexpectedly, a speeding large vehicle suddenly ran over him. He lay motionless on the ground. A moment later, a large pool of blood spread around him. I instinctively glanced at the license plate number and was stunned. This was the very car that had hit us both in our previous life. He Yen was dead. From the testimonies of several of us and from the surveillance footage, we were ruled as acting in self-defense and his death was deemed an accident. Gu Shengyan only suffered a hand injury. He examined the business card with the dent in it. Luckily, it was in my shirt pocket. Not to mention, the quality of your business card is quite good. Where did you get it made? Could you recommend it to me?" After saying that, he raised his face with a look that begged for a punch. "And besides, I did kind of save the damsel in distress, didn't I? How are you going to repay me?" Gu Shengyan didn't mind stirring things up and chimed in. "Offer yourself in marriage. Offer yourself in marriage. Stop fooling around," I said, handing him a peeled apple. "I'll cover the medical expenses. What about compensation for emotional distress?" I shoved the apple into his hands. "No." Several people looked a bit disappointed. I smiled. "But I can offer you a few free counseling sessions. That might not be easy to treat." He wore a sinisterly charming expression. Song Qi and Gu Shengyan laughed more happily than Gu Shenyang. For a moment, the room was filled with laughter and joy. Outside the window, the clouds have cleared, and the sun is shining brightly. Look, the cloudy days will always pass. A new life will always come.